Hi everybody, it's Christina with Christina Karst Yoga. Today what I'd like to do is to talk about correct alignment when we're going through our yoga postures. Also when we're going through our alignment through a few of these standard yoga postures, I want us to also focus in on love and compassion. So before we get into it, let's go ahead and come to a comfortable seat. So, have your yoga mat. I would definitely suggest having a yoga block and then possibly a yoga strap as well. So what I like to do when I come into a seated position, I like to actually sit on the block. So placing the block down here, I'll come and I'll sit on the edge of the block, which will allow me to cross at my ankles and get my knees completely down on the mat. It also allows me to sit up just a little bit taller. And it releases the muscle right here, all that tension in the adductors. And so, give it a try to see if that works. Another great thing would be to sit on a folded blanket or even a pillow if you have any type of, tightness within those adductor muscles right there. For some of you, just sitting on the mat crisscross is absolutely fine. You just find out what works for you, or even extend your legs out. I want you to sit up tall. Focus on bringing the shoulders more in line with the hips and bring the ears more in line with the shoulders. You can have the palms face down on the thighs, face up, or even connect the index finger and the thumbs. I'd like for you to close your eyes here and take a deep breath in. Fill your lungs completely up and then slowly exhale the breath all the way out. Deep inhalation. Deep exhalation. This time, deep breath in, but I want you to sigh it out with force. Again, deep inhalation. Sigh it out. All right, we can do better. One more time, deep breath in. Sigh it out. All right, letting it all go. Keep the eyes closed and just return to your natural breath. Just breathing in, filling the lungs all the way up, and breathing out, fully exhaling all the breath. It's going to feel like a rhythm, kind of like an ellipse, where it's just going up and down, up and down. Notice how the breath is moving up and down, in and out of your lungs. Notice how your chest rises. Notice how your belly expands and draws in. And just feel it. Notice all of that fresh oxygen that's coming into the bloodstream, or as in yoga we call it, prana. So deep inhalations, deep exhalations. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so what I'd like for you to do is to start to break the breath into 3 parts. And what that means is, I want you to inhale, feel that belly get big. Feel the ribs come apart, then feel the chest rise up. Then as you exhale, the chest will fall first, the ribs will draw in, and then the low belly will draw in. So here we go. Inhale, belly gets big. Ribs come apart, chest rises up, sit up taller. Exhale, chest falls, ribs draw in, low belly draws in. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Now do this on your own for a little bit. Just notice how the breath is moving up and down in 3 distinctive parts. Slow it down. Really have that cognizance, that mindfulness. Understand what's all being done here for you to take that breath in. How that diaphragm has to push up into the lungs. How your pectorals expand in your chest. How the lats in your backs move. How those serratus anterior muscles on the ribs, everything's moving. Your core, your abdomen. It's really cool. Breathe. Now where you're focused on that 3-part breath, I'd like to talk about love and compassion, especially today in these times. It's very stressful. Sometimes it feels hard to catch your breath at times. And we're so focused, especially as women, on caring and nurturing our families. And we sometimes forget about ourselves. And so this practice today, it's all about love and compassion for yourself. Love meaning in the sense, owning your own well-being and happiness. We forget about that. I want you to own that today. And then compassion, having an understanding and acceptance when things aren't going right, that it's okay. Knowing that you're one person and giving yourself, patience and understanding instead of giving yourself criticism, okay? When you look in the mirror, I want you to look at yourself and I want you to say, I love myself. I look good. Give yourself a compliment. Don't go to negative thoughts. All right, take another deep, deep breath in. This time, as you exhale, just sigh it out. Beautiful. Now inhale the arms up overhead where the palms will come together. Exhale the palms into your heart center and bow your head slightly. I want you to set your personal intention today, whatever it is, the reason why you're tuning in, why you rolled out your mat, whether you're trying something new, is it for health, is it self-love or self-care, patience or mindfulness, maybe it's for someone or something else. Whatever it is, I want you to keep it simple because you're going to come back to it throughout your practice, so try to make it one word. Take a deep breath in, and to slowly exhale the breath. And then I'm going to go ahead and set our class intention. It's going to be in Sanskrit. It's an easy mantra. If you'd like to repeat after me, please do so. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may our own words, thoughts, and actions contribute towards the happiness and freedom for all. Beautiful. Take a deep breath in. Sigh it on out. And begin to blink your eyes open for me. All right. So I'd like for you to put your hands face down on your thighs. Bring those shoulders more in line with the hips. And then what I'd like for you to do is just take your right ear to the right shoulder. Anchor into your sits bones evenly and just notice how there's a nice stretch that's happening here on the left side. Now maybe you're happy with right here. That's fine. Stay here. If you want to intensify just a bit, take the left fingers down on the ground next to you. Remember to anchor into those sits bones. Then begin to walk the fingers away. You're going to feel that to intensify just a little bit here. If you want more, take the right hand either to the top of the head or towards the ear to pull that head closer into the shoulder. But your sits bones are anchored, so you're not tilting up, your knees aren't lifting up. I want both booty cheeks on the block, the blanket, or the mat. The one thing I want to remind you is this is your practice. I'm a guide. I offer you suggestions. Ultimately, you are in charge of your own body. Remember to release the ego and listen to yourself and be mindful. Take a breath in. Exhale, release those hands to the thighs. Keep that ear right where it is on that shoulder, and then roll the chin down into the chest. Pause here. Take a breath in. Exhale, take that left ear over the left shoulder, feeling the stretch beginning on the right side. Anchor into the sits bones first, and then if you'd like, take the right fingertips down on the ground next to you. Begin to walk them away to help intensify that stretch there on the neck. And then remember, if you want more, left hand to the top of the head or towards the ear to pull the head closer into the shoulder. And I want you to breathe. Full inhalations. Full exhalations, breathing in and out. That's another thing. Yoga means yoking or union. So when we talk about it, it is the true connection of the mind, the body, and the breath. So if you're not breathing, you're not doing yoga. So I will remind you to breathe throughout the practice. So take another deep breath in. Exhale, release those hands to the thighs. Just roll that chin down into the chest, and we'll do a few head rolls. So starting with the right ear to the right shoulder, roll it all the way around. Eventually getting that chin down into the chest, and just keep going in this direction. And if you have any points of tension, maybe you kind of pause, rock it back and forth, And then keep going in this direction of the rotation. Remember to breathe. Remember what your intention is. And then start to make this the last rotation by bringing the head all the way back around once more. Pausing the chin and the chest. I want you to take a breath in. And then start going towards the left, all the way around. And notice, is one side feel a little bit different than the other? Are you getting a little snap, crackle, pop in the neck? That's okay, as long as it's not hurting you. Remember, if you need to pause and rock it back and forth, go ahead and do that. Go all the way around. And breathe. Don't hold your breath. All right, start to make this the last rotation by bringing the head all the way back around one more time. And I want you to drop the chin into the chest. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, begin to lift that chin up. All right, perfect. If you need to straighten your legs out here, go ahead and do that. We're going to do a few little seated stretches before we get into the remainder of the practice. I always like to stretch from the top down. So from here, what I'd like for you to do is to take your right hand, take it right at the base of the skull, take the left hand down on the ground, anchor into your sits bones evenly, begin to open the chest up towards the right, pulling that right elbow back behind you, and look up. Pull that stomach in, and take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more deep breath in. Exhale, coming all the way up, releasing the hands down onto the thighs. All right, so we have the other side. So left hand to the base of the skull first. Right hand comes down on the ground next to you. Anchor into those sits bones. Pull that left arm back behind you. Open the chest up towards the left. Look up. Take a breath in through the nose. Out through the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose. Out through the mouth. One more deep breath in. Exhale, go ahead and come back up to seated. And just roll the shoulders forward, roll them back. All right, a few stretches here. I want you to inhale, cactus the arms, pull the elbows back, spread the fingers apart, drop the head back. Open that chest up. As you exhale, palms and forearms are going to come together and you're going to pull up. It's like they're super glued together. Inhale, cactus those arms, drop that head back, spread those fingers apart. Try to get the elbows to touch. Exhale, palms and forearms, pulling up, up, up. Inhale, cactus. Here we go. Go back, back, back. Exhale, palms and forearms together, pulling up, up, up. One more time. Inhale, cactus those arms, spread those fingers, pull the elbows back, pinch the scapula. Exhale, palms and forearms together, pull up, 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 up. Forearms don't come apart, they don't come apart. Exhale, release. Interlace your fingers and have your elbows out of the side. And then lift the right elbow up. The left's going to come down, and we're just going to rock them back and forth. Here we go. It's like you got a paddle, right? But oh, doesn't that feel nice to release that, what you just did, and start going the other way? All right, beautiful. Go ahead and release that. And I'd like for you to come off of that block or the blanket, whatever it is that you may be sitting on here. So just place that off to the front of the mat. On either side, it doesn't matter. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to work on our measurement of going into our downward dog. And it's actually from child's pose or balasana. So walk down about 3/4 of the mat, untuck the toes, spread the knees to where they're as wide as the mat, sink the buttocks down toward the heels. And it doesn't matter if your buttocks come all the way down to your heels, you're still a good person, okay? It's just about where you are in your practice, but you're still going to get the measurement. Knees as wide as the mat. And then I want you to walk your hands up in front of you, pressing the palms into the mat, and palms are shoulder width apart. Spread the fingers apart. Dig the tips of the fingers into the mat, the bottom of the knuckle, the thumb, and the web, so you can actually lift your palms up, but the fingers and the thumb stay placed. Begin to lower the head down, but keep the elbows lifted, and once you're there, pull the shoulders away from the ears and press into the mat, sink the buttocks closer towards the heels. Take a deep breath in, And then as you exhale, shift forward onto the hands and knees just where they are, okay? Tuck your toes, and they're going to be close to one another. Then you're going to turn your knees into you're going to be on the ball of the foot. Begin to press your chest towards your thighs. Start to straighten the legs out, and then begin to lower the heels down. And you can start to cycle through. Remember where the weight is in the hands. Shaking the head yes and no. And we're actually in the perfect alignment for a dog. So your hands and your feet don't move from here. Your feet are actually very close to each other. And then your feet are actually, parallel with the edges of the mat. So look at your feet. Now, are your toes kind of pointing in or are they pointing out? Kind of like pigeon. I want you to rotate the thighs in or out to make the edges of the feet parallel with the mat. Look in between the hands, and then I want you to put the weight into the tips of the fingers, the bottom of the knuckle, thumb, and the webbing. Then press your hands into the mat. Pull your shoulders away from your ears and drop the head. Shake the head yes, shake the head no. Now to tell if you're in the perfect alignment for your downward dog, and it's okay if you're up here and your heels aren't touching the ground, you're still a good person. That's your anatomy, that's how your bones are formed, or maybe you're just super tight in the back of that Achilles heel. So as you inhale, shift forward into a high plank, and your shoulders are going to stack right on top of the wrist. Your feet stay where they are. Zip your thighs up, press away, and look forward. Guess what? Take another breath in. Exhale, press it back into your downward dog so your hands and your feet don't move. That's how you know that you're in the right alignment. And child's pose gives you that measurement to know. So inhale again, high plank. Pull the stomach and press away. Shift forward to where the shoulders are on top of the wrist. Exhale back into your downward dog. Pressing back, back, back. Pull the belly in. Drop the heels lower if you can, and maybe lift your toes up. It's your brand new stretch, right? Take a deep breath in and out. One more in. Exhale. Come up onto the ball of the foot. Bend the knees a little bit, but keep the buttocks up into the air. Drop the head down lower. Look in between the hands now. We're just going to walk our feet forward to our hands. All right. So we are in our first forward fold. Now everybody puts their booty back. You know why? You think you're going to do a somersault. That's not what forward fold is. And it's not about getting your nose to your knees either. So you actually shift the weight into the ball of the foot. Your knees can be bent here if they need to be. That's okay. If the legs are straight, I want you to get the buttocks more in line with those heels. Then you're going to release the head. And you're going to take a deep breath in and out. One more deep breath in. Exhale, folding in a little deeper. And now we're going to come into a halfway lift. Inhale, placing your hands on your shins or your thighs. You're going to have your torso parallel with the ground here. Pull the shoulders back and lift the chin up. Shift the weight into the ball of the foot to get the buttocks more in line with your heels and your ankles. Then you exhale back down into the fold. Inhale, coming up to standing, sweeping the arms all the way out. Interlace the fingers. Pull up, and the index fingers are pointing up. Try to get your forearms to touch together. Pull the stomach in. Tuck your pelvis, and then go back, back, back. Exhale your hands into your heart center. Roll the shoulders up, slide them down your back. Pull the elbows up. Shoulders are relaxed, and you broad through your collarbones here. And this is what's known as Pranavanasana. Okay? I want you to think about that three-part breath that we did earlier. Inhaling, where the belly gets big, the ribs come apart, the chest rises up. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go through a forward fold, that sequence again. That's actually like a sun salutation A without the vinyasa push-up. So it's something that's a little bit more friendly, especially if you have wrist issues and things of that nature. It's not going to be a tough practice. This is just strictly about alignment. So here we go. Palms at heart center. Take a breath in. Exhale all the way down to that forward fold, nice and slow. Remember the weight's in the ball, the foot, the buttocks are more in line with the ankles. Straighten the legs up if you can, lower it down. Inhale to that halfway lift, hands on the shins, pull the shoulders back, flatten that spine, lift that chin up. Shifting forward in your hamstrings. Ooh, they should be lighting up right now, right? Exhale, back down into the fold, release the head. Inhale all the way up into standing, sweeping those arms up, pulling up, 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 tuck that pelvis, pull the belly in, get 2 inches taller, and then start to go back, 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 back. Exhale those hands into your heart center. Roll the shoulders up, slide them down the back, elbows up to broaden through the collarbones. All right, now think about tucking your pelvis in, pulling that belly in, and breathe. So even when you're standing here, you're not just standing here. You are engaging. All right, take another deep breath in. Exhale. All right, beautiful. I want you to get your yoga block right here. I'm going to show you something. Number 1, when I ask people to stand to the front of their mat, hip width apart, this is what I always get. People think their hips are giant. That's not what it is. It doesn't matter about the flesh that's on the body. We're talking about the actual pelvis. You know, we're talking about the hips. We're talking about your femurs plugging into that acetabulum. So, taking your block on the lowest width, okay? And just place it right there in between the feet and bring the mounds of the big toes right around that block. Okay, guess what? Remove the block just off to the side and look down. Congratulations. That is as wide as your hips are. So they are not as wide as you think they are. Then what I want you to do is put your hands on your hips. Pull your toes up, grounding your feet down into the mat. And this is what's also known as lifting the arches. So holding the toes there, I want you to really press right underneath where that big toe is, that mound. Press into where the pinky toe underneath that is, and on either side of the heel. So you're really firming into the mat. So this is what a teacher may say, root your foot down. That's what that means. Lower the toes down. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do mountain pose the right way, but we're going to start with the block because I want you to feel how you have to have the muscle engagement to do it. So take this yoga block. And then I want it on the lowest width. It's going to go in between the thighs, but it's going to be long waist. So you're going to place that right in between the legs there. Then I want you to kind of walk your feet in towards one another and then turn the toes ever so slightly towards. Maybe they touch, maybe they don't. That's based on anatomy, and it's also based on, you know, what we got there. So when you're doing this, I don't want you just to hold the block there because you can. You're going to squeeze it, and I'm going to make you squeeze it, and this is how. Look down at your feet, lift the toes up, ground into the foot, root down just like we talked about a second ago. Place your hands on your hips, and I want you to think about these inside thighs. See how your knees are kind of pointing in? I want you to rotate them out to where the knees are going to be over the ankles. Then notice how you got to really grip the feet into those areas to ground on in, right? And so when you rotate the thighs out, you squeeze the block, right? Who needs a thigh master when you got a yoga block? Let me tell you. So hands on the hips for now. Lower the toes down, but keep turning the thighs out to keep the knees in line. So you're squeezing. Okay, now stand up tall. Tuck the pelvis in ever so slightly. Pull the chest up. Arms are going to be at your side. Spread the fingers apart. Roll the shoulders up. Slide them down. Then pinch your scapula together. Keep rotating those thighs out. Dig those feet into the ground, chins parallel. All right, so you're squeezing your scapula. You're rotating the thighs outward to keep the knees in line with the ankle, and you're digging your feet into the mat, and you're spreading your fingers apart. Everything's working, right? This is a major isometric workout here. This is Tadasana, it's mountain pose. You're unmovable. You're so strong, and that's what we are. We're mountains for our family. We're the pillars. You're the ones they look to for strength. This is a very strong pose. So deep inhalation and exhalation. Were you holding your breath until I told you to breathe? Deep breath in and out. One more in, one more out. Woo. Put your hands on your hips, look at your feet. Make them parallel towards the front or the edge of the mat, depending on your standing looking at me. Keep squeezing that block. We're going to have some fun. We're going to actually hold that block in between our thighs. We're going to place our hand at heart center. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, squeeze the block all the way down into your forward fold. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Release the head. Squeeze the block. Shift the weight to the ball of the foot. Hamstrings on fire yet? Inhale, halfway lift. Squeeze that block. Flatten that spine. Pull the shoulders back. Lift the chin up. Shift the weight to the ball of the foot. Exhale, down into that fold. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Shift the weight into the ball of the foot. Remember, then inhale all the way up into standing. Squeezing those arms all the way up. Interlace, keep squeezing. Pull up. Forms are trying to touch one another. Hold this breath. Tuck the pelvis and pull the belly in. And go back, 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 back. Exhale, hands into your heart center. Squeezing that block. And did that feel different? Did you see how you had to engage your muscles even more when you're going through the forward fold and the halfway lift and standing? That's the way it's supposed to be every time. When you're really in a deep practice, you're not just moving with the flow. That's what the connection of the mind, body, and breath is, because you're connecting everything at all times. You're squeezing the muscles into the bone. You're pulling air in, oxygen, prana into the system. And you're moving with purpose and intention. It's beautiful. So go ahead and remove the block for me. All right, don't throw it at the camera. All right, set that down for me. So now you're getting an understanding of what it really means to be in alignment, right? Have you ever done Tadasana in a way like that, to where you were shaking to standing there? Wah! Just wait. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to actually work on Warrior 2. And so Warrior 2, or Virabhadrasana B. So stand to the front of the mat. Left foot's going to be forward, and then you're going to step your right foot back. Now, when you're in this position here, what I need you to make sure is take your right finger onto your left heel, and I want you to draw an imaginary line, taking it all the way to the arch of the right foot. If that heel bisects the arch, then you're in the right place. If not, you need to move the feet around just a little bit. Now, the whole thing here is to have the knee, left knee stacked directly on top of the left ankle. The right foot's going to plug down, so let's work on the right foot first. Also, your shoulders are going to stay in line with your hips the entire time, so you're not like reaching forward or reaching back. So, hands on your hips, plug the right foot down, lift the right toes up to anchor the entire foot down. So remember the grounding we did with Tadasana and with the others, where you feel that in the mound underneath the big toe, the pinky toe on either side of the heel, then drop the toes. Bring the left knee, stack it directly on top of the ankle. So it's not forward, it's not back, okay? I need it stacked. So if you can't get the knee there in the position you're currently in, you need to drag that right foot in just a little bit. Or if you want to go for the in full posture, you move that foot back, because it's going to be a 90-degree bend in the front leg. Okay, keep your hands on your hips. Make sure that foot is anchored down. So, you keep hearing, what, tuck your pelvis. What does that mean? It means pulling your tailbone in. So when you're in Warrior 2 and your teacher tells you to tuck your pelvis, you're like, how do I do that? I'll tell you how. You take this left knee and you pull it towards the pinky toe. Do you notice how everything is tucked in place? So release it, bring it back in. All of a sudden, does your right glute feel like it just went on fire right there? You're welcome. Remember, knee on top of that ankle, so don't lose that. Hands are on the hips. Roll the shoulders up and slide them down. Take the arms out at a T just where you're at. And I want you to pull your triceps in. Spread the fingers out wide. Make sure your feet are anchored down, so lift your toes up. Set them down. Turn your head to look over the left middle finger. Having everything engaged here. Keep that knee pulling towards the pinky toe. Keep your right foot grounded, anchored down. The entire foot is flat on the ground. Your shoulders are right over your hips. You're looking forward. Are you breathing? Take a deep breath in. Exhale, hands back into your hips. Straighten out that front leg. Woo, right? So you can really feel how it is to squeeze the muscles into the bones, right? It's a very different feeling. So then pivot that left foot towards at 90 degrees where the toes are pointing towards the edge of the mat. So they're matching your right foot. And we're going to turn the right foot to face the back of the mat now. Okay, so the same process here. Come down, left fingers draw that imaginary line. Does it go right to the arch of the foot? If not, move it around to where it needs to be. Another way you can do this is take a yoga strap or get some chalk and just draw that straight line down the mat if your mat doesn't have alignment markers. So that way you know that you're in the proper alignment and you get the most benefit out of the posture. Here we go, hands to the hips. Look at that left foot, plug it down, lift the toes up. Feel how everything has to ground down. Focus on anchoring that foot down. Imagine I was there stepping on your foot to where you couldn't come up. I do that in class to people, yes I do. So take that right knee and get it right on top of that ankle. Okay, so remember, not forward, not back. Shorten your stance or lengthen it to get to where you need to be in your practice. All right, we're gonna tuck the pelvis, and how we do that? Pull the knee towards the pinky toe. All right, so your glute right now and your left should be on fire. Notice your hamstring is like, it's balled up because it's ready to go. Feel your quad in your right leg. Does you feel how everything is being worked on right now? All right, so arms up, slide the shoulders up and then down. Pull the triceps in, so no angel wings. Spread the fingers apart. Remember, shoulders are right on the hips, so you're not reaching forward, you're not reaching back. You're right here. Knee stays on top of that ankle. Pull it back. Look over the right middle finger. Have you breathed this entire time, or are you waiting for me to tell you? Come on, deep breath in and out. In and out. Beautiful. Take your hands to your hips. Straighten that front leg. Pivot those toes to where they're a point towards the edge of the mat. Take an inventory. How are your inner thighs feeling? How do your quads feel? Hamstrings, glutes, your arms. You just had them up like this, right? That's the thing, guys. When you're in the right alignment for these postures, everything works. So I'm going to show you star pose, because guess what? Our feet are already in the right position for it. So making sure the arches are even, so where you don't have one foot at one side and the other where you're like diagonal. I want you to take your arms out into warrior two arms, okay? So they're out, palms are face down. I want you to roll the shoulders up, slide them down, and keep them parallel with the ground. Plugging your feet into the mat. I want you to think about tucking your pelvis in, turning your inner thighs out, okay? So you're pulling your knees out. All right, lift the feet, the toes up to ground into the feet and down. Okay, so when you're doing this, the legs, you should feel this in your inner thighs. You should feel your glutes on fire, and you're pulling your triceps in on your arms, so everything's working, right? It's not just standing here like this. You're engaging all of your muscles. Your glutes are like tight little balls, right? Your hamstrings in the back of the thigh, your quads, your inner thighs, your ankles, your calves, and your triceps. You're kind of shaking, right? Are you holding your breath, or are you breathing? Take a deep breath in and out. One more deep breath in. Exhale, take those hands and release. Kind of shimmy, shake that out, because I know that burns. But hey, you want to look good in your yoga pants? This is how you do it, right? All right, so you can just, heel toe the feet together, hop them in, whatever it is that you need to do, go ahead and do that. All right, perfect. So we've learned about mountain or Tadasana pose. We've learned about warrior two, Virabhadrasana B. We also learned about the forward fold, which is Uttanasana, halfway lift, which is Ardha Uttanasana, and when we come up and put the arms up and go back, that is Urdhva Hastasana, which is an upward salute. And then Steeple Mudra and Pranamanasana or prayer, okay? So we worked on a few little things there. So what I would like to do next is I want to show you what it means to get into proper alignment with Warrior One. So with Warrior One, it's tough because it's all based on your hips being able to be squared off. So I'm going to show you facing you first, and then I'm going to go a long ways on the mat so you can see that. You're going to bring your left foot forward, and then you're going to step the right foot back, and the right foot's going to be at a diagonal, like a 45-degree angle there. You have to square the hips to face towards the front. Now, if you can't square the hips here, you know, heel toe the left foot towards the edge of the mat. And you can widen the stance, and that's going to allow you to turn the hips, and it's going to be more even. And then make sure that your back leg is straight and strong. You're plugging down that foot all the way down, so lift the toes up and then down. Keep squaring the hips and take that left knee and place it right on top of that ankle like we did in Warrior Two. Then I want you to press into an imaginary wall to where your shoulders stay on top of your hips. And so when you do this movement, your right glute, it should be firing off right now, right? And then turn the palms to face one another and pull the arms up and rotate the pinkies in. Now for some of you, when you try to pull the arms up, you can't go all the way up. That's because you got this little bone here that's called the acromion process. So you gotta get around it with the arm, with that humerus. Come open the arms up, then lift up, and guess what? You can straighten your arms out. Big difference, right? So here, I'm gonna turn the other way to show you how it looks from this side. Squaring the hips first, bringing the knee directly on top of that ankle, plugging that back foot down, pressing into my imaginary wall, rotate the palms to face one another, pull the arms up straight, rotate the pinkies in, and then look up. Virabhadrasana A, Warrior One. So here we go. Take a deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. One more in. Exhale, the arms come down first at the hips. Place your hands on your hips and just straighten out that front leg. Pivot the toes, the back toes where the toes are at the edges of the mat, the feet are parallel. Woo, right? So when you're in the proper alignment, you're really working, and it's really hard to square the hips because it's unnatural for the pelvis to be in that position. And so by doing that, you're working on your glute, but you're really targeting your core at the same time. That transverse abdominis, that girdle, you know? So we're going to do the other side. So what I want you to do is look at your left foot and turn the toes in at that 45-degree angle. Then you're going to pivot your right foot to face towards the front of the mat. Hands on the hips, and to start squaring those hips. Remember, if you can't square the hips, heel toe that right foot towards the edge of the mat until you can square the hips. And then make sure you're plugging that left foot down, lift the toes up. Then go ahead and drop them. Bend in the knee to get it right on top of the ankle. So not forward, not back. So shorten the stance if you need to, or lengthen it, right? Because that's where you get into practice. Press into the imaginary wall, and you can even actually press on a wall to get this. And you can even put a block at your knee pressing into the wall so you really feel how you're supposed to be in that engagement and keeping that knee right where it needs to be the entire time. Flip the palms to face one another, or take the arms out a little bit depending on how your shoulders are right there. Pull them up, rotate those pinkies, and plug that back foot down. Remember, the knee is on top of the ankle. Look up if you can't. Reach up completely. Yogis, yoginis, do not waste energy. Take a deep breath in and out. One more in. Exhale the arms straight down. Put your hands on your hips, straighten out that leg. Woo! Pivot the toes to where they're parallel at edges of the mat and they're facing up front. Right? You're like, oh my gosh, I've never felt a yoga posture like that before. And that's just because you weren't in alignment. So if you've ever heard the term alignment, 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 if your teacher says get into alignment, that's what they're talking about. So now you can understand when you're in a class. Think about me saying pull that knee towards the pinky toe when you're in your Warrior Two to tuck the pelvis. Or square the hips, press into that imaginary wall when you're going into your Warrior One position. Or Tadasana, hip width. You know, it's those little bitty things that if you weren't really aware of it, you'll definitely remember it going forward. So, all right, Just a few more minutes here, guys. So from here, what I want you to do is just bring the feet together, or hop them together, if you're able to do that. Absolutely beautiful. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna come down onto the mat the best way that you can. For me, the way I like to get down is just to come into a nice forward fold, bend the knees, and just come into a tabletop position, and then come to sit down, you know, on the mat. So what I'd like to do is just a little bit of like gentle twisting, and then what we can do is do a little bit of Hasana, which is knees to the chest, which is a nice release to the low lumbar. And then eventually I'm going to let you go into Shavasana. How about that? I think I definitely heard some cheers, and I can definitely sense some smiling. So from here, what I want you to do is just sit down, crossing the legs. Or remember, if this hurts those inner thigh muscles, get that block or that yoga blanket and then sit on it. And then it's going to allow you to sit up a little bit taller. See, all of a sudden, I'm like really tall, which is cool because it kills me to sit the other way. So our anatomy is all different, and that's a big thing for me. I'm all about anatomy and physiology, and I can find a modification for anything. And that's just something that it's what's cool about yoga, because yoga is for everybody, regardless of what your situation is. Doesn't matter your age, your weight, if you're suffering anything that's autoimmune, if you have severe scoliosis, osteoporosis, surviving cancer, going through cancer, pregnant, whatever the case is, I teach all types of students and all ages, all elements. And it's something that is beautiful because we can make it about you, because ultimately it's your practice. What I can do in my practice is not something that maybe you do in yours versus what you do in your practice, where you get the benefit may not benefit me. And so that's where we just find ways to do it, let go of the ego, right? Remember that love, owning our own happiness and well-being, and just enjoying it. Yoga is about love. It is about compassion. You should feel kind of like a little high by the time you're done with the practice, because you focused on yourself for your own well-being and happiness. All right, so here we go. Sitting up tall, getting comfortable. Take your right hand to the outside of the left thigh. And then I want you to keep your buttocks on that block, the blanket or the mat, evenly. And take your left fingers back behind you, sitting up nice and tall. So your booty is going to stay anchored down. It's not going to move. So we're just going to turn the torso towards the left, and I want you to look towards the left right now. Just looking straight out in front of you. Keep pulling that left shoulder back, anchoring down, and you should really feel a big, big twist happening in your torso, right? Going up through your thoracic spine, your lumbar, so this is the low vertebrae, going up to the top, almost to the neck. So let's start engaging the neck, or maybe this is the elevator ride you stay on. I want you to start turning that chin, keeping it up parallel, and start to look over that left shoulder while you're pulling everything back. Anchor onto the block. Knees don't come up. Are you breathing? Remember, full inhalations, full exhalations. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, start to twist back, release the hands. Shake out those shoulders. So that's a big twist, right? That goes back to that alignment piece. All right, so here we go again. Sit up tall. Left hand to the outside of the right thigh. Right fingertips back behind you. It's like right in the center of the spine is where your fingers are at. Then start to open that chest up towards the right and just look in the direction that your chest is trying to point here, pulling that right shoulder back. And notice maybe one side's a little different than the other. This is that side for me. I don't go that far on this side because that's just how my anatomy is. Then maybe you start to turn that head to look over that shoulder. Remember, no chins in the chest. Sit up tall, pull that belly in, anchor into that sits bones on the block. And are you breathing? Take a deep breath in. Exhale, go ahead and face forward and just kind of roll the shoulders back and forth. Just loosening all that up. All right, beautiful. So what I want to do is some stretches here with the arms that we're going to get into the chest. You're going to pinch the scapula together in the back. I want you to interlace the fingers together. Flip the palms forward, pull the stomach in, press the palms away, so your hands are going in one direction and your stomach's going in the other. Take a deep breath in, and as you do that, lift the arms all the way up overhead to where the biceps are going to frame your ears and pull up, up, up. Feel like you're trying to get those shoulders out of the socket almost, but don't do that. Okay, exhale all the breath. Take another deep breath in. And then as you exhale, lean a little bit towards the right, but the buttocks never come off of the block or the mat or the blanket. Inhale back into center. Exhale, leaning over there towards the left. Inhale, center, pull back, 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 back. Exhale, release those arms down, straighten them out, pull the belly in, look down, bring the chin into the chest. Then exhale, release. Okay, so from here, we're gonna open up the chest, and it's gonna be really cool. So you can either put the palms right behind the buttocks, the fingers can face forward, or the fingers can face back behind you. So the hands are going to come down so you're leaning back. All right. Then from here, pull the chest forward, the shoulders back. Be mindful that you haven't had any neck injuries and just drop the head in between. Pressing the chest up, keeping the knees on the ground if you're sitting on a block. And just feeling this nice opener here. Breathing in and out. Now, if you've ever had a neck injury, I want that chin on your chest as much as you can, pulling the shoulders back, puffing the chest forward. Now for those of you that had the head back, go ahead and lift it back up and just place it on your chin. Then start to push into, with your hands, just sit up into a comfortable position. And then take your left arm out in front of you, fingers point down. So the palms face up towards the ceiling, bending the elbows face up, but fingers are going to point down. You're going to take your right hand and pull the fingers back towards you to release that forearm, because we put a lot of pressure right there doing that stretch. You always have to counterbalance what you do. All right, then go ahead and release that right hand, palm facing up towards the ceiling. Pull the fingers down to open up that forearm right there. Full inhalations, full exhalations. All right, absolutely beautiful. Then go ahead and release that, and I'd like for you to go ahead and come off of the block now. And just place it over to the side somewhere where it's going to be out of your way. And I want you to scooch towards the mat with the knees bent, feet flat on the ground. The toes are going to just be right there on the edge. Lie on your back. Release or remove a ponytail if that's going to bother you. And I just want you to take your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around them as much as you can, and just rock from side to side. This is what's known as Vipassana. And I want you to look up here, or close the eyes. Also, if this is a little much for your neck, you can always have a folded yoga blanket and use it as a pillow. Or heck, use a pillow. It's okay. There are no shame in props. That actually helps you deepen the practice further. All right, beautiful. So just rocking back and forth here just a little bit. All right, then I want you to take your feet flat on the ground to where your knees are bent. Take your arms out to a cactus. This is going to allow you to anchor your shoulders down. Bring the knees together, feet are going to touch. Take a breath in, hold that breath, pull the belly in towards the spine and start to take the knees down towards the right as much as you can without lifting the left shoulder up, so it's going to be anchored down. So maybe you put a block underneath the legs here so it doesn't feel like you have to go that deep. Or maybe you have the ability to have the legs go down far. Everybody's different. It still makes you a good person if you can't do a big twist. It doesn't matter. It's all about your practice, right? You can even look towards the left where you're going in two different directions. Like, which way am I going? I don't know. Smile, it's yoga. Take a breath in. Hold that breath. Pull that tummy in, and then bring the knees back up to center and look up. So when we hold the breath there, we pull it in. What we're doing is we're actually protecting our low back by engaging our core. So here we go again. Deep breath in. Pull that stomach in, then drop the knees towards the left. Anchor into the mat with the shoulders. Release the breath, and then maybe look towards the right. Breathing fully and completely. Maybe even close your eyes here and just enjoy the stretch, okay? All a deep inhalation. Hold the breath, belly in. Bring those knees back up to center, look up. And bring those knees back into your chest once again, rocking from side to side. And then stop rocking here. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, I want you to bring the forehead up into the knees where you're tucking yourself into a tight little ball. Release the head down first. And then release the legs one at a time. And then the arms will splay out at the sides where the palms are face up. Close your eyes. And yes, you have made it to Shavasana, your final resting position. Get comfortable. Close the eyes. Don't check out. I want you to check in with yourself here. And sometimes Shavasana can actually be the hardest pose of all because you're left to do with your own thoughts, right? So I'm going to give you something to think about. I want you to inhale, feeling the belly rise. Feel the ribs come apart. Feel the chest rise up. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Do the 3-part breath at your own pace here. And I want you to imagine that you're at this pond area. It's beautiful, it's full of life. The sun's just rising. You see dragonflies, lily pads, frogs, butterflies. Maybe a fish hits the top of the water and leaves a boil. We're right there at the shoreline, at the muck, the mud, where you don't want to walk, right? Because you'll get your shoes stuck or your feet stuck. This bud of a flower begins to emerge. Now, you don't know what flower it is. You don't know what color it is. It just hasn't opened up yet. And just look at it. For everything that I'm about to ask you to let go of, I want you to start to see the petals open up. So take a deep breath in. Exhale all the breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Being with your natural breath now. Let go of comparison. Some petals opened up in the flower. You're starting to know its color. Let go of competition. More petals are opening up. Let go of judgments. More petals begin to emerge. Let go of pride. More petals. Let go of worrying. More petals show up. Let go of guilt. Let go of all of those negative self-thoughts. It's almost opened all the way up. Let go of fear. One more row of petals to emerge. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Let go of the ego. The flower has completely opened up. It can be any flower you want it to be. It can be any color you want it to be. I just want you to notice that it's delicate, that it's fragile, that it's just absolutely beautiful. And you're just admiring it, marveling in its beauty. And what I want you to realize is that flower is you. When you let go of all the things that no longer serve you, when you focus on the moment, the present moment, the only moment that exists, knowing that you're in the right spot at the right time, and remembering love for yourself, self-love, owning your own well-being and happiness, and having compassion towards yourself, knowing it's okay if you get stressed out or have anxiety, and you're patient with yourself. That's what that flower represents, you. Start to take deeper breath into the body, wiggling in through the fingers and the toes. And then it may feel good to lift the arms up overhead and take a nice stretch, like if you're waking up for the first time, stretching deeply to the center, to the left, and to the right. And then begin to bend the knees with the feet flat on the ground and just roll over to whatever side feels good to you today. And I want you to take a moment of pause here, a moment of self-reflection, thinking about what you learned about yourself, not just from like a physical standpoint, but from like a mental and emotional, that inner self, that higher consciousness. What did you glean? You know, and there's no right or wrong answer. It's just I want you to think about it. And then remember what that personal intention was that you set at the very beginning of your practice. Then take a deep breath in, using your top arm and your top leg, press yourself up into a comfortable seated position, keeping those eyes closed. Palms can be face up, face down, or index and fingers and thumbs can touch here for that grounding mudra from Muladhara, the root chakra. Have the eyes closed, take a deep, deep breath in. Sigh it out. Deep breath in. Sigh it out. One more deep breath in. Sigh it out. And just bring the palms to heart center, bowing your head slightly. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I'm grateful and I'm humbled. I would like to end the practice with one Om. If you'd like to participate, let's take a nice deep breath to begin. The light and love in me honors the light and love in each of you. And I bow to you all with Namaste. I hope that you had a wonderful practice. I've enjoyed being here and going over a few alignment cues with you. If you'd like to continue to practice yoga with me, I do have a channel on YouTube. It's Christina Karst Yoga. So that's Kristina. Karst is K-A-R, S as in Sam, T as in Tom, and then yoga. You can also find me on my website at ChristinaKarstYoga.com, and that's just all one big word that runs together, or on Facebook at Christina Karst Yoga. I hope to continue to practice with you. I do offer live Zoom classes right now, so you can find those on my website with the schedule, and you can book for them. And they are being offered free, right now, because everybody needs the opportunity to be able to practice yoga and to be able to connect their mind, their body, and their breath. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Namaste. Hope to see you soon. Bye.